And at the 8th Forum for the Future of Agriculture, I'm now joined by Franz Fischler, who, of course, Mr. Fischler, you have been here from its inception. You are now handing over the chair of the FFA to Janusz Potocznik. And you have said that he is the best possible person to take over the future of these forums.
Yes, this is true, and I'm really convinced that we made a good choice because Mr. Potocznik is very familiar with the environment as a former environmental commissioner, but also with the farming sector because he grew up on the farm. He's a farmer's son, and he especially understands also the way of thinking of farmers and also the social dimension because he comes from Slovenia, and in Slovenia you have very small-scale farming, and therefore he knows what it means to live on a very small farm and to work there and to try to make a profit out of it.
Of course, this is the forum that discusses the future of agriculture. It talks to farmers, it hears the views of policymakers and those involved in social and economic change. Over the 8 forums, themes are the same, but they progress, they move on, they are different. What is the focus that you hope will come from today's forum, looking at sustainability, looking at innovation, looking at the role of European agriculture with regard to the UN Sustainable Development Goals, moving on from the Millennium Development Goals, and of course looking at the ideas of things like waste as a resource and the circular economy?
As you know, this year is a crucial year as far as sustainability is concerned, because it will be very decisive that we are successful with the decision later in September in the UN in New York to implement then these sustainability goals. And the question is, what does that all mean for agriculture? And agriculture is here in the center of the discussion because there are not many other sectors where all the 3 dimensions of sustainability are play such a crucial role. So the question is not so much the concept as such. I think there's broad agreement that this is the only way forward. We have to balance economy, ecology, and the social dimension. But the question is, and the challenge is, how to do it. And here, I think it is absolutely necessary to think about new ways, because we cannot only just continue the past and go in that way to the future. We have to think what it means in different parts of the world, because to implement sustainability is a totally different thing if we think about Europe or if we think about sub-Saharan Africa. And in addition to all that, I think it is really important to understand that sustainability as a concept is a very complex concept, and we must learn to deal with complexity. And maybe our new tools which we have available nowadays with the information technology and so on, we can manage big data. And in that way, I hope we will find totally new and much better solutions.
You've always talked about innovation in passionate terms, innovation being the key. And when we look at the kind of things that we're talking about today, we've spoken to Commissioner Hogan already, who talked about simplification and complexity being 2 sides of the same coin. How much space, policy space, is there, though, for entrepreneurs, for farmers who are looking at precision farming, for those who really want to fill that space with innovation?
Let us be clear. I mean, to deal with complexity is driven mainly by science. When we speak about simplification, usually we mean all the administrative aspects of the CAP and so on and so forth.
And Commissioner Hogan's message there is very much the same as yours in the mid-90s when you held that role, simplification.
Yeah, but I have still in my ears when my former Director General in DG Agri, Mr. Legrand, said once, well, you know, simplification is something between two reforms. It's not so much about the reform. And I think there's a certain truth in that, because this has to do with the daily management. And I would be very much in favor that the Commission invites practitioners from the national administrations, but also farmers and people from the whole sector to develop maybe some ways how to deal better with the complex administrative system. But in the end, I think there's one other aspect, and as long as we don't deal with that, we will not be very successful. And this aspect is, all these things have to be controlled because all these things have financial implications and public money involved. But as we all know from the past, there's always a certain percentage of misuse. And the question is, how far would you like to go? Because zero mistakes is not an option. It won't work. Or you introduce more and more administrative burden instead of reducing them. So therefore, I think also here we have to find the right balance, and we have. What I would prefer, what I would very much promote is to have a system, a kind of bonus-malus system, where those who have a good performance in the administration get a certain benefit out of that and are not mixed together with those who have a bad performance.
Your final message then, as you're handing over the chair, your hopes and aspirations for this forum when we think about 200,000 more mouths every day in the world to feed and the pressure on farmers to produce more and input less. What's your final message?
Well, my final message is rather clear. First of all, it is possible to feed a world with 9 billion people. And second, it is possible to do this in a sustainable manner. But it requires a lot, as I always said, a lot of innovation, new ideas, new initiatives, and it needs more political leadership.
Franz Fischler, enjoy the 8th Forum, and thank you very much for joining us on FFA TV.
Thank you.
Thank you.